Good mic work, back at you. Battleground and the post-Battleground Monday Night Raw are both in the books. I figured I better get up here and do a commentary right away before the world ends, because apparently that is what is currently happening. Raw tonight I thought was solid. To follow a solid pay-per-view last night, I think the WWE put two good shows back-to-back together for us. It was really nice, and last Monday night's Raw wasn't half bad either. Tonight we were all waiting in great anticipation to see the follow-up with Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Taker, of course, made his big return last night, interrupting and costing Brock Lesnar the WWE title against Seth Rollins, and WWE was kind of teasing throughout the day that Undertaker might open the show, and he did. Taker comes out for the first time in a year and a half that we've seen him on Monday Night Raw. I don't even think he appeared on TV before his match with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, so this was the first time we've seen him on Raw in a long time. He came out and cut a promo explaining why he did what he did, and sure enough, he is very, very pissed off that Brock Lesnar conquered his undefeated streak at WrestleMania, and he is choosing this time to come back and seek his revenge. They played up the fact that the timing was very calculated. You know, Brock Lesnar is 100% focused on the task at hand, and the task for him at Battleground was to win the WWE title. The last thing on his mind was The Undertaker, and here he shows up. The only thing I regret is that this news got leaked out. Could you imagine if that happened and none of us saw it coming? I mean, maybe some people were surprised. I was surprised merely by the fact that I didn't think the rumors were true, but I did still hear the rumors. So I just wish we never knew that Taker was returning and that it was never leaked, because if he would have came out and surprised us all like that, that would have been awesome. But this was very close to being equally awesome. Undertaker cut what I thought was a very good promo, and he called out Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman for bragging about defeating the streak and rubbing it in his face and, you know, running his name through the mud and all of that. I don't even think they were doing that. Paul Heyman, you know, it's not like they were talking shit about The Undertaker. They were just going out there and stating fact. And you know how Paul Heyman is and how he doesn't shut the fuck up about things. It's just like when Chris Jericho beat The Rock and Stone Cold in one night. He went on to talk about that for years. And plus, when you do conquer something as significant as The Undertaker's streak, you should talk about it every fucking week, because it's really the biggest thing that Brock Lesnar has ever done. So I kind of thought last night that Undertaker might just have gone heel, because Brock Lesnar, it seemed like they turned babyface a few weeks ago. Undertaker's coming out and interrupting and helping this douchebag heel champion that they have, robbing Brock Lesnar, a guy that all of the fans want to see win the title, robbing him of the belt, hitting him with the nut shot, and then coming out on Raw saying that he's a ruthless, remorseless dead man and he's out for blood. You know, I'm thinking to myself, why? I understand that you're upset that you lost to Brock Lesnar, but like I said last night, Brock Lesnar didn't rob The Undertaker. Brock Lesnar didn't cheat to get that victory. He beat him straight up, fair and square. Undertaker, yes, he can be pissed. Yes, he can want a rematch, but to come out and seek revenge in that way, you know, I guess that does show the remorseless Undertaker, because he just wants revenge and he doesn't give a fuck about anything else, and that's his number one goal, so that's fine. I just thought Undertaker came off a little heelish. Apparently he is not. I guess really there is no heels and baby faces anymore, because The Undertaker is going to have some heelish parts to him, but the fans love him, and same goes for Brock Lesnar. So this is your main event. Undertaker basically says in his promo that he's back to get revenge, and he wants, you know, a rematch with Brock Lesnar, and after the promo, when he's walking to the back, they immediately cut to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, who are jizzing in their pants because they just realized that the main event of SummerSlam just dropped right in their lap, and they immediately start making big plans to start marketing and promoting this big match. Triple H even then goes on to say that he's going to call Paul Heyman and say, don't bother coming to Raw. Undertaker said his piece. Brock Lesnar obviously wants The Undertaker. He's going to get his chance at SummerSlam, so no need to even come to the show, right? So not even an hour goes by. By the top of the first hour, they have Paul Heyman showing up on Raw telling Stephanie and Triple H that he's by himself. He just wants to go out to the ring and state his rebuttal to The Undertaker, and then he'll get out of there, and that Brock Lesnar is not in the building. Triple H and Stephanie, I think prior to this, also had a little meeting backstage with the entire WWE locker room. It was weird, too. The lighting and the effect of it reminded me of when Stephanie and Triple H had that initial meeting with the locker room back in like 1999 when the McMahon-Helmsley era was launched. It almost kind of reminded me of that sort of feel, but they basically said, you guys, all of you, to protect your livelihood and your paychecks for this big pay-per-view next month, we have to protect our main event, so we need all of your help in trying to get in between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar and make sure that if Brock shows up, these two guys do not get their hands on each other. So Paul Heyman comes out, says his piece, cuts his promo, and then starts getting really intense, and you can tell he's getting madder and madder as he's talking because he's pissed off, too, that The Undertaker cost Brock Lesnar the WWE title. Finally, he gets so pissed, the lights go out, you hear the gong, the lights come on, Taker is in the ring with Paul Heyman, and about 5 seconds later, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and he sprints down to the ring, runs in the ring, immediately starts brawling with The Undertaker. This was one of the best pull-apart brawls that I have ever seen. I loved this whole piece of business. This time around, this feud just feels a little bit better. The only thing I really liked about the build-up between Taker and Brock during the WrestleMania 30 match was I think it was the contract signing where Taker stabbed Brock's hand with the pen or something and then chokeslammed him through the table. I remember liking that, but the rest of it was pretty uneventful. This time around, it seems like, there's more at stake. There's revenge at stake. Undertaker is trying to get revenge for that loss and that blemish on his undefeated streak at WrestleMania. It's a little bit more personal. Undertaker looks a lot better than he did the first time around. He's very intense looking, and Brock's doing a really good job selling for him, and you can actually believe that this will actually be a good match. These guys brawl all over the ring. A bunch of security guards come out. Brock and Taker completely dispose of them. Then the locker room empties out, and you basically had the entire WWE locker room. The only ones that were not out there that I could tell were Randy Orton and John Cena. They were all alone in the back with the fucking divas. Lucky them. But it literally takes about 50 guys to separate Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, and they keep escaping their respective groups. Brock Lesnar runs around to the other side of the ring. They keep busting through the crowd, jumping on each other. It was great stuff, and it wasn't even a clusterfuck. A lot of times when you have these type of brawls, they can look really bad. This one looked really good. I think all of the wrestlers, too, did a really good job of selling this thing. It was a big deal. They weren't just out there standing there, taking up space. Everybody was trying to get involved, trying to break this up, and finally the whole thing goes to commercial, and then they don't even end it there. When they come back from commercial, you see all the guys still walking Brock and Taker in the back, trying to restrain them. They finally break away again and start brawling in the backstage area. Finally, after all of this fighting and all of this brawling, security guards actually show up. They definitely weren't cops. They weren't 5-0. They were 2.5s. If you ask me, they should have had real cops out there with fucking Uzis and shit and riot gear taking Brock Lesnar in, because him and Undertaker obviously were not going to be stopped. I thought the whole thing was great, and it got me excited for the match. I'm curious how often these guys are going to be on Raw in between now and SummerSlam. You would got to think they got to take next week off. After a big angle and a big segment like that, we need a breather. Give them a couple of weeks off. We're probably going to get a contract signing. That's almost a guarantee. So we'll have an interaction like that, and maybe one other time between now and SummerSlam. But this was the big setup, and I think it was pulled off really well. The WWE did a good job here. Everybody did. So I'm excited for the match. That's going to be your main event. A non-title match, another one of those, Rock and Cena type matches. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar are going to headline this thing. I'm going to get behind the match. I'm not going to shit on it. A lot of people didn't seem like they were that happy with it, but, Undertaker is back, and you got to think that he wouldn't even want to do this if he doesn't think he can go out there and have a good match. And I really hope, and I would think that this match would be a lot better than the WrestleMania 30 match, because that thing was a stinker. And I think maybe even for Undertaker's personal pride, in real life, maybe he wants to go out there and have a better outing with Brock Lesnar. Early predictions on this thing, the way the storyline goes, as much as I hate to say it, you kind of have to predict The Undertaker in this because, from what I understood, Undertaker's basically year to year. He doesn't know what he's going to do. For all we knew, the match at WrestleMania 30 against Brock could have been his last match. But he came back at WrestleMania 31. Now he's back again. So you have to wonder if maybe when they ended the streak, they had something like this in mind for the future. They just didn't know when. Maybe when Undertaker was pitched the idea or told by Vince McMahon that his streak was going to be ending, Vince might have said, hey, look, in the future, you're going to get the win back. You'll get some revenge. We just want to end the streak. We think it'll be a good way to launch Brock, and we'll set him on fire for a year or 2 years or however long you want to wait until you have a rematch with him. It can make him our number one guy and build him up for the next WrestleMania. And now The Undertaker is kind of in the same position. We all know that WrestleMania is going to be in Dallas, and WWE really wants to put 100,000 people in that building. And you got to know that Undertaker is going to have a major match on that pay-per-view. So maybe they need to have him win against Brock Lesnar to position himself for a major match. Maybe it could be his final hurrah. Maybe this could be Undertaker's final program. Who knows? Maybe his final match could be at WrestleMania 32. Maybe he beats Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and then the two of them have a rubber match at WrestleMania 32. Maybe a loser retires match or something like that. I don't know if I want to see a third Brock Lesnar-Undertaker match at WrestleMania 32 because I want to see new matches at WrestleMania 32. I want to see Rock and Brock or something like that, but it's a direction they could go. We've got a lot of time to speculate on this and decide if we're happy with it or not happy with it. As much as I love Brock, as much as I'm a mark for Brock, if he's got to give that victory back to The Undertaker, I've got no problem with that. I mean, think about it. That was the undefeated streak. You know, that's such a big deal. We're talking nearly a quarter of a century long streak that was put to an end by one guy. If he's got to give one victory back to The Undertaker, I hardly see how that's a crime. To the best of my knowledge, I don't even know if The Undertaker has ever even beat Brock Lesnar. Going back to their feud in 03 or 04 or whenever it was, or 02, I'm sorry, when Brock first won the title, and they had a couple of pay-per-views there. That one Hell in the Cell match was awesome. I'll never forget, and Brock won that. So maybe it's time for Undertaker to beat Brock Lesnar. And plus, you know, don't forget what Brock did to Kane. He's going to be coming back, and now with Brock, feuding with Taker here, you got to think Kane making an appearance somewhere between now and SummerSlam or at SummerSlam is almost an inevitability. So we've got a ways to go. Yes, I'm really not that thrilled about thinking about Brock Lesnar being pinned for the first time in a few years in WWE. I would like to see him continue on his murderous role that he's been on, but, you know, I got to think that he's probably going to go down at SummerSlam. I hate to say that, but it's probably going to happen, and I really don't have a huge problem with it. I just hope they can do it in a way where Brock is still Brock. Now, since this is the main event and it's already been confirmed, they mentioned it over and over again on Monday Night Raw, that means the WWE title will not be defended in the main event, and Seth Rollins needs an opponent. And he showed up in the backstage area talking to Stephanie and Triple H and says that he wants to go out and speak his mind and get a few things off of his chest. Of course, he goes out to the ring and brags about how he's still the WWE champion and calls Lillian Garcia in the ring to officially announce him as the WWE champion, but she even mentions that Brock Lesnar was the winner via disqualification, which means my predictions actually were 100% right. I got every match correct, even down to the main event and calling the DQ victory. So that was pretty awesome, but as Seth Rollins was sitting there flapping his gums, I immediately start thinking to myself, okay, he needs an opponent at SummerSlam. Who's it going to be? I mentioned last night Triple H. I still think Seth Rollins and Triple H can do something with each other in the future, but I didn't think they had any time to put something together before SummerSlam. So when he's out there talking, I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, who's his opponent going to be? Surely it won't be Kane. You know, I know Kane is going to have to, have a confrontation with Seth Rollins when he does come back eventually anyway. But I don't know if Kane would really be the guy you want to put against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for the WWE title. You need a big match here. And the more I thought about it, the more I was getting more nervous and almost laughing because I knew the shit was going to go down. I'm thinking to myself, well, who is left? Randy Orton? No, he's already got his title shot after Seth won it. Seth's already worked with Dean Ambrose, and who was already out there earlier on in the night as well. Roman Reigns is tied up with Bray Wyatt. Undertaker and Brock, of course, are doing their thing. Sheamus is the Money in the Bank champion, but he's not going to be getting any title matches. He's just going to wait and cash it in. So who does Seth Rollins face? They either have to bring out somebody completely new, somebody that we didn't expect coming out, like, let's say, The Rock, or someone like that to give him another big match, or it has to be one guy. And you know who that guy is? Cena. And sure enough, Cena's music hits, and I thought to myself, oh shit, it's going to hit the fan now. Twitter's going to explode. Fans are going to freak out. It is going to be absolute hell on earth, pure torture, baseball bat shoved up the ass for all of these people that can't stand John Cena, because now he's going to be getting a WWE title shot at SummerSlam, it looks like. Cena comes out, interrupts Rollins, gets on the mic, calls him a dirtbag piece of shit, pussy-ass little champion. Talks about how his belt represents respect and Seth's belt represents chicken shit, and just really gets in his face. And basically, that's going to be it. That's going to be your title match. Now, of course, everybody's like, oh, you're gonna defend this, aren't you, good mic work? I mean, Jesus, give me a break. I'm glad to see the Cena haters have gotten more mature over the years. Jesus, the therapy is definitely not working. There's a big part of me that can see that John Cena was really the only option here for SummerSlam. If this was another pay-per-view, then fuck it, put anybody in there against Seth Rollins. But they need a major match, and this is a major match. And on top of that, don't worry, I highly doubt John Cena is going to win the WWE title. And before you type some stupid shit in the comment section like many of you did last year when we were in the same position with Brock Lesnar, oh, good mic work, you're just fucking naive. Can't you see John Cena's going to go in there and squash Brock Lesnar? I'm like, are you fucking nuts? And this is another situation. Seth Rollins has held this belt since WrestleMania. If he is finally going to lose this thing, it's not going to be in the middle of the card. And on top of that, don't forget that the WWE title has changed hands at the last couple of SummerSlams. So WWE has got a prime opportunity to kind of end that little streak, because we all know Taker and Brock's the main event, so this is a perfect opportunity for them just to have a title match and to get out of it without a title change. And on top of that, I think John Cena is just being used as a pawn to help build Seth Rollins' title reign, because think about it, he's probably going to wind up escaping Brock Lesnar and John Cena back to back. That's going to be a great feather in his cap, and I also think there's a really good chance that he could beat John Cena. You know, he's always been called out by Triple H for not being able to get anything done on his own. Finally, he was able to beat Dean Ambrose by himself in that ladder match. Maybe he is able to get a big victory over a major guy at a pay-per-view. This could be a big deal for him. Now, you know, considering that John Cena was defeated pretty ruthlessly last year at SummerSlam, I don't know if he's going to go down 2 years in a row, but at the same time, I don't see him winning the WWE title. And then what? He's going to have the US title and the WWE title? That makes no fucking sense. I think John Cena is simply put in there to give Seth Rollins a major opponent for a major pay-per-view for him to either defeat or escape with the belt. And that's it. And everybody's freaking out using the same old fucking language. I saw people reading right from the I Hate Cena handbook saying things like, oh, WWE just never makes new stars. They got to put Cena in there with Seth Rollins. I'm like, never makes new stars? Who is the WWE champion? Seth Rollins. He's not new. He's not a star. He's the WWE champion. They launched Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, another relatively new star for the WWE. It's not their fault he got injured. Roman Reigns is going to be WWE champion one day. You can guarantee that. He's also a new star. People throwing other statements at me like Cena never jobs and shit like that. It's so hilarious. The way I see it is these Cena haters are Fox News and I'm the Daily Show. I mean, they are extremely hyperbolic. It cracks me up. I remember last year after SummerSlam, 3 weeks after SummerSlam, people are bitching at me that Cena never jobs. It reminds me of the movie Zoolander. Anybody ever seen Zoolander like 15 years ago? But why male models? I mean, it's that sort of thing. You know, I'm like, are you serious? I just fucking told you. I mean, seriously, that's what happened. Night of Champions hadn't even happened yet, and people were bitching that Cena never jobs. And I'm like, did you not see SummerSlam? Did you miss it? I don't understand. You know, it's just the logic is kind of off the wall. Now, I understand nobody's going to be happy about John Cena getting a title shot, but it's just positioning. That's all it is. It's just to stack this pay-per-view and make it as good as they possibly can. John Cena, I've said it a million times, he's over his shit. You know, that roof literally blows off arenas when fans sing John Cena sucks to the tune of his theme music. All of his matches with Kevin Owens and most of his U.S. title matches since he's held the belt have had us on the edge of our seats. Isn't that a great thing to see for the United States title? Isn't that a positive thing? Tell me and explain to me where the negative is in that. The bottom line is here, people still hate John Cena with every fiber of their being, and they cannot stand it any time he's thrust into any sort of a position. They don't see the big picture. They think this is the end of the world, and SummerSlam is the last pay-per-view that WWE is ever going to have. People were telling me tonight, I feel sorry for Kevin Owens. Are you fucking serious? I don't think Kevin Owens feels sorry for himself. He's had more exposure and made more money since he's been on WWE TV than he probably has in his last 15 years in the business combined. Remember the Google test? Google Kevin Owens and then Google Kevin Steen and see who gets more hits. This guy walked right in the front door of the company with no build at all and worked with the top star, with the poster boy, with Super Cena, the guy that never fucking loses, and beat him clean on his first night out. And on top of that, I'm still not 100% convinced that it's over for Kevin Owens. It kind of appeared that way because of the tap out. It's not over for him. He's on the main roster for good now once he wraps up business with Finn Balor the night before SummerSlam. Who's to say he can't interfere in the WWE title match and cost John Cena the belt? Who's to say he can't answer a U.S. Open Challenge prior to SummerSlam? Who's to say he can't get a title match against John Cena for the belt at Night of Champions? Or maybe it can be a four-way with Rusev and Cesaro involved. Who's to say all of that is not possible? I think WWE, you know, I always mention that, most feuds don't go more than one pay-per-view. This feud with Seth Rollins, I expect to go 2 max, and hopefully just 1. Hopefully John Cena will get his match with Seth Rollins, that Seth Rollins will pull some shady shit to escape, or maybe we'll have some interference from Kevin Owens, and that'll allow John Cena to continue things going into Night of Champions, where he can defend his title against either Owens or a bunch of guys in a 4-way or something like that. If not, maybe he gets one more match against Seth Rollins and, Seth escapes again. Whatever they do at the end of the day, I do not see John Cena winning the WWE title. To me, it would make no sense. Sheamus is another factor. Now, I'm not too thrilled, as many of you aren't either, that he is the briefcase holder, but generally, when a guy holds the briefcase, he does cash it in successfully, so we better get used to the idea that Sheamus is probably going to be the WWE champion. So, do you have him cash it in at SummerSlam? Again, I always think about the stage and the timing of something like that. I don't know if I want to see Sheamus come in and cash in the WWE title, whether he cashes it in against a victorious John Cena or a victorious Seth Rollins. I don't want to see Seth Rollins' title reign come to an end in the middle of a pay-per-view. I want to see it come to an end at the end of a pay-per-view. Same goes with Sheamus. If he's going to cash it in successfully, this needs to close out a show. And with the main event already being dedicated to Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, to me that just screams that no matter what they do and what direction they go in, Seth Rollins will walk out of SummerSlam as the WWE champion. I think Sheamus's most likely cash-in might be somewhere like Night of Champions. Maybe Seth Rollins does, in fact, work with Cena again at Night of Champions, and Sheamus cashes in there. I think he's got to win it, but I want him to win it and have his title reign already over with before we get to WrestleMania. So really, we kind of need the guy to win this belt soon. If the WWE assumingly is going to put the belt on him and they don't have him unsuccessfully cash in. If they're going to put the belt on him, just do it quick. That way it can be over with by the Royal Rumble and we can have a big major match for the WWE title at WrestleMania 32. I really don't want Sheamus going into WrestleMania 32 as champion. So anyway, enough of my very popular and fearless opinions on John Cena. Let's get back to Raw. The main event of the show was going to be a 6-man tag. Kind of random here. Randy Orton, John Cena, and Cesaro taking on Kevin Owens, Rusev, and Sheamus. Now, the match kind of is all fucked up because on the heel side, nobody's getting along with anyone. We all saw what happened between Rusev and Kevin Owens last week. Sheamus just ends up walking out of the match after some miscommunication with him and Rusev or something, and he leaves, leaving Rusev and Owens all by themselves. And then Owens takes a hike as well, leaving Rusev all by himself to face 3 guys, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Cesaro. And right before the match, they did a backstage segment where Lana was doing an interview talking about Dolph Ziggler and how he's doing and if he's going to be coming back soon. And Summer Rae interrupts her, kind of dresses like her, and Rusev shows up with this crazy-ass look in his face. He's like, look, I created a new Lana, and she's hotter than you, and he kisses her right in front of her, and then walks away, and then Summer just bitch slaps Lana. So anyway, Rusev's out in the ring now all by himself after his partners ditch him, and Lana comes out to the ring and attacks Summer Rae on the outside of the ring. They start brawling together, and then Rusev is just fed to these 3 guys, and each one of them lay their finishers on Rusev. I think Cesaro even gave Rusev a slingshot into an RKO, which was pretty cool. So yeah, needless to say, we definitely have a lot of options for SummerSlam. I don't know which way they're going to go with a lot of this stuff. I'm curious if John Cena is going to still be U.S. champion going into SummerSlam. I think he will be. I think it makes for a much more colorful match to have John Cena out there with a belt taking on Seth Rollins. I would like to see John Cena do a few more open challenges on Raw. It would be really nice if he would drop that belt to Kevin Owens at some time. And I'm still holding out hope that that will happen, and I refuse to believe that it's completely over. I think Kevin Owens can easily get another shot. I think right now John Cena has to fill in at SummerSlam to give Seth Rollins a big opponent, and he can definitely pick things back up later on with Kevin Owens or with multiple guys and eventually drop it. Cena is going to drop it sooner rather than later. So those were the major things that happened on Raw. As far as what else we saw, we got a couple of Divas matches tonight. WWE is still pushing these NXT girls hard. Charlotte had a one-on-one match with Brie Bella. Beat her, made her tap out with a figure 8 again, which was really awesome to see. They also had Sasha and Naomi team up to beat Becky Lynch and Paige. Both matches were pretty good, and the crowd seems really into it. I gotta hope that Charlotte is the one that they decide to put the belt on. I have a feeling it will be. I'm just not sure if the WWE even wants to go with a one-on-one match, Charlotte against Nikki at SummerSlam. You got to think they might want to put more divas in this thing just to make the match good. But I don't know. With a title reign like Nikki's, you think she's got to drop it in a one-on-one situation in a big match. And if Charlotte getting the opportunity at SummerSlam, winning the Divas title and dethroning a long-reigning champion at a pay-per-view like SummerSlam, I think could be a great moment for her. So I'm really hoping that eventually all this shit they're doing with the Divas does in fact lead to Charlotte getting the strap at the pay-per-view. Roman Reigns also got a match tonight against Luke Harper. He definitely wants revenge for Luke Harper interfering and costing him the match last night. Bray Wyatt accompanies Luke Harper out to the ring, and Dean Ambrose shows up to be in Roman Reigns' corner. Now, Roman Reigns winds up winning this match via disqualification. Big brawl at the end. Great stuff. I thought the match was pretty good, and I thought the brawl was pretty good. Now, this feud is continuing on, and I'm guessing we're going to see something at SummerSlam, and a lot of people have been bringing up Sting. Now, I haven't read any of the Sting rumors, but apparently, according to a lot of you, he's all but confirmed for SummerSlam, and he's going to be doing something with Bray Wyatt. Now, I have no idea if that is true or not. If it is, I'd be fine with it. Why not? Stack SummerSlam. Stack it up good. Maybe Sting can come in and interject himself into this feud. Maybe Ambrose goes off and feuds with somebody else, and Roman Reigns is kind of left to contend with both members of the Wyatt family, and Sting shows up to help out Roman Reigns, and it can be a tag team match. That might be a better option for Sting anyway. Just put him in there for a match as an appearance, and it can give him a victory. He's never won a match in the WWE. So to me, the whole thing actually would make sense, and it would give Sting a victory going into next year's WrestleMania 32, assuming Sting doesn't do anything else between now and then. That was pretty much it as far as Raw goes. We also saw Primetime Players. They lost to Los Matadors with New Day coming out and distracting him and costing him the match. Also, Miz got completely squashed by the Big Show in, a couple of minutes. Miz showed up in Triple H's locker room, interrupted one of his phone calls, and Triple H is like, fine, you're going to go out there and have a match with the Big Show tonight, one-on-one. Now get the fuck out of here, Obi-Wan. That was pretty fucking hilarious. So Miz goes out there and gets completely destroyed by the Big Show. The Big Show gets on the mic and says Ryback needs to get his ass back because he wants to win the Intercontinental title. So that feud is not over. Ryback will make a complete recovery from his staph infection and will probably wind up resuming his feud with the Big Show when the time comes. Shit, that's probably going to be a SummerSlam match. I just hope they keep the title on Ryback for a little while longer. So after the first Monday Night Raw in the build to SummerSlam, we already have two matches basically confirmed, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins and John Cena. Hopefully by next week we'll have a little bit better of an idea of what Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt are going to do, what Kevin Owens and Cesaro and Rusev are going to do, and guys like that. So hopefully WWE will stack up the card real good for SummerSlam. They have to. It's in Brooklyn. That crowd is not going to put up with any bullshit. I'll talk to you guys in about a week after next Monday Night's Raw, and we'll have more of an idea of what's going to happen at SummerSlam. So I'll catch you in a few days. Until next time, peace.